Bierocks, a comfort food of the Midwest brought by Germans who lived in Russia. What happens if we take this incredible dish and fuse it with Korean? Today we're going to make some Bulgogi bieroks. Stay tuned. Greetings and welcome back to the Galley of the Sun. So we are at T-minus 7 hours from bierock time, and it's time to do our first action. So what I have here is a bag of Rhodes rolls. Gonna cheat today, not gonna make my own bierock casing, crust, whatever you wanna call it. We're gonna use these. 36 comes in a package, so this is going to yield us 18 bieroks. So, got a large baking sheet. Gonna lube that puppy up with some cooking spray. Then we're gonna lay out our rolls, and we'll get these arranged till where there's plenty of room around each one for them to rise. Next, we're gonna get some plastic wrap, and that we will lube up also. And then loosely place that on top of our rolls. So I'll get the other one done, totally cover this up, but that's it for this step. They're gonna sit here and proof and rise for 5 hours. So we'll be back then for the next step. See you then. Through the magic of editing, 5 hours have elapsed, and our rolls are looking pretty good right now. First of all, don't do what I just did, because if you can reuse this, it'll make your life much easier. And if you use press and seal like I did, it's going to be very hard to undo what I just did. So don't do that. Take it off carefully. I was excited. So now what we're going to do is flatten the rolls. I'm going to flatten 2 here, and I'm going to take them and I'm going to combine them. And I'm going to roll them up into one roll. And I'm going to set them down. I'm going to do that to all of these, taking our 36 individual rolls into 18 mega rolls. We're going to, again, spray some plastic wrap and cover this and let these rise for another hour. So I'm going to get that done. Then I'll get set up to make the innards. So we'll see you then. Now we get to work on the innards. I am fixing to throw a lot of ingredients at you. Worry not. You don't have to write it down as I do it. There is a recipe. Down in the description section, you'll find a link, take you right to our website, galleyofthesun.com. You'll find the full recipe there. All right, let's get going. What I have here is an Asian pear. I need about 1/4 cup shredded. I just said amounts. I'm not going to say amounts a lot because I don't want to lead you astray. Read the recipe. All right, so I'm going to cut off about 1/4 of this thing. Feed it to my food processor. We will get that into a bowl, and we'll set that aside, and we'll work on the next thing. I need a finely minced onion. We will chuck all that in a bowl and set it aside. Then we'll work on the cabbage. And you can see over here I have the rest of my ingredients already prepped. Those all go in the innards, so it's over to the stove, and we'll get it going. Alrighty, I must be very excited about these because 1, I put up all my cutting stuff, threw my cutting board in the dishwasher, got it started and everything, turned around and saw the green onions. So, I've diced up a couple green onions. And also, we got to get the sauce constituents together that makes this the Bulgogi bieroks. So, into a bowl goes the pears that we shredded earlier. I guess it was 1 pear, so it was a pear. It wasn't a pair of pears. With that goes brown sugar, soy sauce, sesame oil, ground black pepper, an obscene amount of garlic, mirin, some sesame seeds of the toasted variety, and honey. Now we shall mix all that together. Delicious. All right, now over to the stove. I got my biggest skillet here, my Lodge 13.5 inch cast iron skillet. I'm gonna get that on medium heat and add to that my ground cow. We're gonna get that all broke up, and we wanna get this about 50% cooked. Now, just before I told you we're about 3 hours away from dinner. We're doing this so early so this innards has time to cool and for those flavors to meld. Now the ground cow is about 50% cooked. I'm gonna add that sauce. I'm gonna set that bowl aside because I'm gonna use it in a second. Now I make sure everything's incorporated and continue to cook until that beef is 100% done. I'm seeing no more pink with the beef, so now I'm gonna remove that with a slotted spoon and put it back in my sauce bowl. Now we add in our cabbage and our sweet onion. And we're gonna cook this for a good 10 to 15 minutes, stirring frequently, and cook the majority of the liquid out of this, because we don't want our bierock to be soggy.
No.
It took about 15 minutes to cook the liquid out of that. I can take the spoon and pull it across there and not have liquid just rush back in. So now I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm going to return the beef to the skillet. And we'll add our green onions. Now stir to mix. Now I'm going to let that cool down to room temperature. If it gets to room temperature and I'm still not ready to make my bierock, then I'll put it in a container and chuck it in the fridge. But otherwise, we'll see you again when it's time to construct the bierocks. The innards have cooled to room temperature, and my mega rolls now have risen and doubled in size. Let's start making these bierocks. Gonna throw down a little bit of flour here to prevent stickage, and we will take our roll. I'm gonna flatten this out to where it's about a 1/4 inch thick or so we can get those innards into it. All right, this step is totally optional, but it adds to the Koreanness of this Bulgogi bierock. I'm gonna add just a little bit of kimchi for the spices and for the texture. Not a whole lot, just a little. Then we're going to add about 3 tablespoons of the filling, doing our best to not get a bunch of juice in here. Now we'll simply bring the corners together and pinch them as we go. Now we'll put that back on our baking sheet with the presentation side up. I'm going to get the rest of these done, then we'll be back for the next steps. We'll see you then. The bierocks have been rising for the last 30 minutes. Now for the finishing steps. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. What I have here is some melted butter. We're going to brush these beautiful little pillows of happiness. And if you're keeping score at home, a half stick is perfect for 18 bierocks. Now, some of these have kimchi, some of them do not. So I have some black toasted sesame seeds, and I got some regular toasted sesame seeds. I'll put the black ones on the ones with kimchi so I can tell them apart. Sesame seeds are not traditional for bierocks, but these aren't traditional bierocks. They're Korean bierocks, Bulgogi bierocks. So we'll see you in about 30 minutes plus an appropriate cool down time to get judgment on these. See you then. All right, this is known as a treat in the Midwest, so I've brought in another native Kansan to give us judgment. My sister, Sarah.
Looks good. It is very good.
Did you get some of the kimchi in that bite? What do you think?
It's a very nice contrast with the meat.
Yeah, a bit more spicy, the fermented cabbage. Yes. I thought also there would be a difference in texture there too.
Yeah, there is a little bit of difference in texture from a regular bierock. Yep, I really like it.
All right, there you go. Bulgogi bierocks. Give it a try. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. Until we see you next time, fair winds and following seas.